I'm Narelle Todd.
And I'm Essie Susan Smith.
We are the self-publishing author and marketing duo that has sold over 2 million books. But we didn't start out knowing how to sell books. Fast forward past many failed promotions and a lot of lessons learned, you will see how we went from self-publishing newbies to hitting the New York Times bestsellers list and making the USA Today bestsellers list 19 times and counting. We created the Get My Book Out There podcast to give you simple yet effective marketing strategies to increase readership and book sales, so you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, as well as some tips for staying mentally and physically well.
Let's get started.
And we're talking book covers. What makes a really good book cover? How are you going to connect?
I
love book covers. I tell you, I would just buy a book based on the book cover. I wouldn't even sometimes go to the blurb. I love that book cover.
And that's one of the things when I want to get motivated to write the next book. I'll often start the book cover and then get it done. And then I'll just stare at the book cover and it's like it's talking to me. It's like telling me the story. And so for me, having that book cover, it's that motivation. Okay, this one's definitely going to be next.
Oh, yes. I think your book covers, the saying about, a picture paints 1,000 words. It's like, oh my goodness, a really good book cover. As I say, people will just buy or click to find out more just based on the book cover itself. And we want to share with you today 3 things that we think make up a really good book cover. And, whether you're creating your own or you're working with an artist to create the book cover, here are our 3 tips that we think you need to keep in mind when you're creating that cover that are going to get people to click straight away. So first up, what do we have, Susan? Composition.
Composition. For me, everything is about how it blends in, the colors that sets the mood. Colors, for me, it's a lot like music. It sets the mood, it sets the feel for the book. Having the right characters, if you have characters on the front, I always say it's the emotion in the eyes. The eyes are what does it for me when I pick out the cover models. And then we blend everything else in. But I try to capture in that, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So for me, it is, because it captures the essence of what the story is. And it's just like, you just want to stroke it. It's like diving into a painting. And for me, that is what a book cover does.
So is there a certain way of, composing the cover? Is it title and then the picture and then your name, or does it matter?
A lot of times there's like a triangle or an inverted triangle. So you'll notice with the triangle, you usually have a point that draws your eye to the center. You'll have maybe the characters on each side, and then across the bottom you'll have your writing. So that would be the title and usually the name of the author. Or if you have the inverted, kind of hard to do it upside down, but it would be the title. You may have the name of the author up here, the title underneath, and then everything drawing down with the characters. Or if you don't have characters, then you may be dealing with structures of some time, but it would actually bring your eyes down to a point. So you're looking at basically the triangle or inverted triangle when you're looking at that composition.
Cool. So that's good to know. I love the thing that you said about the eyes. That's so true. Because as strange as it does seem, in some of the photographs of the models, you can see, some of the models, they just got like a bit of a glint in their eye, sort of like, they could be a bit cheeky, or, sometimes it's a bit serious. You do get that sense.
An emotion that that they've been through a lot. And then there's other ones that their eyes are just kind of like blank. It's like, okay, take my picture. And when you have that blankness, it doesn't draw you in. For me, eyes are the windows to the soul. Yeah. So when I pick the characters that I want to go on the front of it, I want them to capture the essence of what that character is. And I think one of the biggest ones was my book cornering Carmen. Carmen had been through so much. She was strong, but there was a vulnerability to her. And so when I found the model for that cover, you know, she had that look in her eye that I'm strong, but there were like shadows to it. And the way she had her arms, you know, you could also sense that vulnerability in her. So it was like the perfect model, and her posture and the look in her eyes to represent that character. And so when I do things like that, I always look for those components, because if you've got a big chunky guy and he looks really good, you know, got the nice man chest, but he's got this emptiness in his eyes, he's not going to pull readers in. Look for those kind of things. An edge of insanity. Oh my God, the female character, she's got that look of daring, like she's daring you to bring it on. She doesn't care. She's gonna face it. And yet again, you can also see the compassion that she has and her body language. So those are such essential components to making sure that you get the right composition. Oh, yes. If you look at that one, you know, and with him, he's got this look, and that I can see it really good.
Okay.
But Lena's got this, okay, I'm gonna do this, bring it on, I've got this. And Edge has got this intense look, like, but there's still like this sense of vulnerability about him, you know, just in his the posture he's got and the look on his face. And so those two mesh so well. And then there's Carmen. Carmen, I just love that one. You know, you can see that intenseness in her, but you could also see, like I said, from the way she's got her arms positioned, that vulnerability. And if you pull the cover back up, if you notice, you've got the triangle. So from the point, you've got the top of the book, it comes down, you have the dragon and you have Carmen. And then across the bottom, you have the title, the subtitle, the series, and my name. So right there, you've got that V shape. If you actually put your fingers up to it, you would have that V shape.
I'm not that clever, but like that.
Yes.
I need more arms. Yeah, that was cool. That's so true. I love both those covers. Edge of Insanity, I saw that and I was just like, oh, got to buy it. Yeah. And Rivers Run is another one. That was
Rivers Run is another one. You know, it just catches your eye. And I think one of the biggest compliments I've ever gotten, and I've gotten it frequently, is when readers come up and they're like, you know, they're drawn to my table during a book signing because of all of the, you know, the book covers. They're just the color, just the beauty of them. And I actually had two publishers come up at one convention, and they were actually stroking the covers, and they're like, all the way from the other end, I was just drawn to your table by these covers, and I absolutely love them.
Yes.
And it does make a huge impact. You know, when I'm at book signings and stuff, people are drawn to my table because of the covers.
Yeah, the power of a good cover. Yeah,
the power of a good cover.
So depth. Let's talk about depth in a book cover. What does that actually mean?
It's funny because a lot of people I've talked to, I try to explain book covers in two ways. You can have two piano players, and they're both playing the same exact piece of music, and they're both professionals, but one of them is Yanni, okay, or Liberace, or, you know, whoever famous piano player that you love. And so they can be playing the exact same piece of music and on the same type of piano, but one of them has just this magic that just literally pulls you into it. And that is where the depth comes in. When you have book covers that are made that are, you know, they look nice, but they look two-dimensional. Then you have other book covers, and there's just so many layers to it, and so many little details, colorings, and you'll see something in the background that, you know, you may not have seen before. So every time you look at it, it's like looking at a great work of art. And that is, to me, where that depth comes in. And so there is a definite draw between, you know, two book covers. So when you're looking for a good book cover, you want one that just literally sucks you into it, makes it feel 3D, makes it feel like you're there, has that sense of magic to it. And I'll admit, I've been with Melanie Simmons since basically not long after I first started, and her covers have all of that magic to it.
Yes.
Her covers are absolutely fabulous. They jump off the page. You want to just print them and put them on your wall. And I think that's the big difference. When you look at that cover, do you want to print it out and put it on your wall as a piece of artwork?
Yes, they certainly are
That's
that.
where that depth comes from.
Yeah. And when you're, let's say you're creating your own covers for those authors who do, one of the things that they can do is use, you call them layers. I would call them an overlay. So, if you're using Photoshop or even on Canva or BookBrush, any of the software that you're using, is one of the mistakes I see is authors will say, create a cover, and it will just be, say, the cover model and then the name, their name and the title of the book. What that does is it's flat. What you want to do is you want to add some other interest points and put some overlay on it. So it could be stars or clouds or lights.
It's also the ability to blur, to bring in the shadowing, and to understand, if you're going to do the book covers yourself, then I would recommend watching a lot of lessons on YouTube on what makes a good book cover. Look at art books and what distinguishes the difference between a flat image and a three-dimensional image. That's where, like I said, you can see the difference. It's the little details. It's that shadowing on it. It's, the color, the texture, the gradient. So there's a lot more to creating a cover than just sticking a picture and two people on the front and a title.
Yes.
You need to understand basically artwork. This is a piece of artwork, and if you want your work to stand out, you need to have that composition, the triangle, the inverted triangle. You need to understand the shadowing, the color wheel, how the colors blend together, and then layer it and put details in there that help make it pop.
Yes. And I must say, one of the things that I recommend to authors is spend money on a good cover designer.
Yes.
I don't think this is actually something that most authors can do themselves. So if you are doing it yourself, or you're considering, if you're just starting and you're considering it, I would say this is one place where you need to spend money to get a professional to actually do this for you.
And there's plenty of pre-made covers out there that are inexpensive, that they may not be the top of the line, but they're probably going to be better than what you can make.
Yeah.
And unless you're really good at it, know your skill sets. Know that the hours that you would spend trying to create this cover, would it be cheaper for you to pay someone else to buy a pre-made cover and spend that time writing or marketing?
Exactly. Yes.
So, be smart about what you're capable of doing. When I first started, I'll be the first to admit, I had some really bad covers. But at that time, there were not a lot of graphic artists creating book covers, and there were not a lot of pre-made ones out there. So or even programs to create your own. So it was a very, difficult time there. Now there are tons available. In fact, Melanie just sent me her email with a ton of pre-made covers that she made, and they're not that expensive, especially for what you're going to get.
Yeah, definitely. Invest. This is one part we spend. Yes.
It's an investment in your story, and you'll make the money back through sales just because you have that great cover.
Exactly. And our third point on the covers is connection. So step us through that one. What are you meaning by connection?
Well, you need to connect with the reader. When I put my book covers up there on display, and I have people all the way across the room, it's like an laser focus on where they're heading for me, and they're just like, oh my God, it's like a little bit of being overwhelmed because there's so many great covers. So it's like, I don't know which one I want to pick. But I've had a lot of readers that have said, there's this cover is calling to me. There's something about this cover that is calling to me, and it connects with them, and they have to have that book. And it's like, that's when you know that you're definitely on the right track. And it's the stories, the cover should reflect the story that's inside it. I can tell you now, if it doesn't, people will get very, very upset. Readers, if they see a redheaded cover model and the girl is a brunette, they're going to be like, what's going on? It just kind of throws them off. So, make that connection with the readers. You want them to, even like you said, buy the book just simply for the cover. They fell in love with that cover, and they'll buy the book, and then they'll fall in love with the reading, and then they'll have to go get the rest.
Yes. Which is inevitably what happens. The benefit of a very good cover is that, as people are scrolling through their favorite store, that cover just pops, and so they'll stop. There's plenty of people that they can go look at. So that's why, we say, consider these 3 things when you're looking at your book covers, but also consider actually investing in a good designer for your cover. You go and do what you're good at, which is the writing part. Let somebody, professional do the book cover. But you also need to be working with that person, knowing that these are the 3 things that you need to look for. So, just to go over it again, it's the composition of the photo, of the cover, depth and connection. So when you are assessing covers, pre-made or getting them designed for you, think of it in terms of those 3 things. Does that cover speak to you? Does it have depth? Does it connect? If it doesn't connect with you, then chances are it's not going to connect with readers either.
That's it. I'm telling you, get the books, and they'll be wanting to just put them right up on the wall, and then I have to keep taking them down so they can keep rereading them. Shadow boxes, little keys.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, everyone, go out there, go create some great covers. So work with a designer, or if you're doing them yourselves, work through those 3 principles, and your covers will jump off the page. Readers will buy just based on the covers themselves. Yeah. How groovy would that be?
And one last bonus tip is, if you are creating your own covers, look at some of the great covers out there. Find the ones that you fell in love with the best, and then don't copy them, but copy the styling, copy how they were done, and create your own. Make it yours.
Yes. And put your twist on it.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay, everyone, hope this has been helpful for you. Go create some great covers.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Today, we've got way more information we want to share with you to increase your book sales. So please come and join me at facebook.com. Get my book out there.